Hey, BATT Family. Welcome back to what I believe is episode 27, 28, something in there.
Yeah, we'll figure it out at some point.
It'll be fine. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
We have somebody much cooler than both of us on the show.
Yeah, we do.
And we have a wonderful designer and developer from one of my favorite publishers. He has designed games such as Keepers, Hostage Negotiator, and of course, one of my all-time favorites, Final Girl. We have AJ Porfirio on, and I am stoked. How are you doing, AJ?
Great job with the name. That was good. You didn't even ask me how to pronounce it. Yeah, I'm doing awesome, especially as you got my name right.
As somebody with two last names that are frequently mispronounced, I pride myself on trying to get those right. So,
well done. You nailed it.
So, how are things going on your end? Anything fun going on for you at the moment?
Yeah, things are great. We're gearing up for the end of the year, and it's always a busy time as we get into the sort of holiday season. And of course, with Final Girl being our most popular title, October is an extremely fun and busy time for us.
I believe every second of that.
And I have to say, it was extremely impressive, the pomp and circumstance you guys had at Gen Con this year. I knew exactly what was going on as I'm walking around the con and seeing the iconic characters walking around the con with us.
The only one I saw was Hans, and I don't think I saw any of the other ones.
Well, I saw the new one. I saw Mort. He was walking around. And one of the nurses, I think, was running around.
The Ratchet lady?
Yes.
That box, man. Oh, Wolf Asylum.
I mean, we had our own people in Mask, and then there were multiple kind of cosplayers, it's super cool to see, and really, honestly, an honor to have a game popular enough that people want to cosplay as the characters. And so I saw the Intruders, I saw Geppetto, cool. Of course Hans, and we were even selling Hans masks, and we have Hans masks on our website if anyone's interested in that. Gen Con it was such a blast.
So you guys only had like a couple people doing it, but like other cosplayers just decided to do it on a whim?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we had one of the rooms across the hall from the exhibit hall.
Yeah.
And we did a whole Final Girl experience. So we had a photo booth, and we paid, and this was my idea, so I'm to blame, but we paid way too much for literally like Hollywood movie quality silicone masks of Razorface and Dr. Fright, Hans. We had, the light up eyes and everything. With all Hans masks are different than the ones you can get on the website because it would be way too expensive for people if we did those. Yeah, so we went all out, and we had been planning it pretty much since the end of Gen Con the year before. And I had kind of put a call out I wanted to do like a VRG takeover and just get as many of our customers and fans as possible coming to Gen Con. And it was just a runaway success. We had by far our best show ever, sales-wise and experience-wise. And I can't wait to try to top it next year. It's going to be tough, but it's my favorite show. I love Gen Con. The spectacle is where it's at, and I wanted VRG to be a big part of that. So yeah, we went all out.
You guys were not that far away from us again, and you guys were just always flooded too. I know I managed to get over to talk to you to try to play in this like late Saturday because I just couldn't get in there to even talk to you before then.
Yeah. No, I know. I told my team, I was like, I think we did not have anything longer than 5 minutes without having someone, purchasing something at the booth, which is incredible. Gen Con's always busy, but, sometimes late in the day, Sunday, or like in the afternoon, some of the other days, you might have 10 or 15 minutes and go by. But, we were just nonstop. It was awesome.
I think it was about 3:52 on Sunday when the last person hit my booth, and I was like, okay, is anybody else coming, or can we actually like prepare for the end of the show? Yeah. It was a crazy show this year.
It was.
Gen Con is just such a celebration for board game players and board game designers and publishers, and it's just like, it was so nice to see everybody's pomp and circumstance because it was well deserved.
It was a fun year.
It was a fun year.
We are moving on into where we always start with, and that's what's been on the table. So, Scott, what have you been playing recently?
Well, unfortunately, I'm very busy right now at this point in time of the year. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now, but most of my stuff has been relatively quick things. So I've been still playing Thunderworks Flip Tunes because it's an easy throw on the table. Also been playing Cartographer because I have to play it because I love it so much.
You're in a Thunderworks mood.
I'm in a Thunderworks mood. I very much am. I still have Citizens of the Spark sitting just off my nightstand because I keep reading it. I'm like, okay, I think I understand what's going on.
You're going to like the solo mode on that.
Yeah, I got Knitting Circle, so I've got a bunch of books to read to learn how to play. So not as many as you do, sir, but definitely got my own little
Not
little
my
hovel.
9-inch pile of rule books over there.
Is it only 9? It looks more from this distance.
Probably.
What's been on your table, sir?
We normally go to our guests first. So
that's true.
AJ, what have you been playing?
I actually played last night with a friend of mine. We played 2-player and we did Marvel Champions, which always a great time. Yeah, we had an epic game. So I had 2 unopened characters, so we played with those, and I was Rogue and Chad was Phoenix, and we played against Ultron, who, the freaking drones. He's just always putting out little drones, and they're so annoying. and so we were like both real low on HP, and not even through the sort of first phase of Ultron. You kill the one, and then he comes back at the level 2 or whatever. And I honestly was like, there's no way we're winning this. And, we'll just play it out. Let's keep going. Because it always bugs me in Final Row when people are like, oh, I couldn't win. They quit. And I'm like, maybe that was true, right? Like 9 out of 10 times. But that 10th time, you're cheating yourself of like an epic experience that you'll never forget. So foreshadowing, he comes back with 22 hit points per player, and our characters weren't super damage dealers, and his final scheme is basically a time clock. You can't thwart the scheme, so it's just adding two points, and once it gets to 10, that's it. Well, we just had the right run of cards, and we figured out we had a couple things that let us confuse him, which the effect of confuse is it prevents the scheme from adding points to it, and so we somehow pulled off the victory, and it was just such a fun experience, and I'm still, as you can tell, kind of flying high from it.
Nice.
And then after that, we played Star Wars Unlimited, so the trading card games. I've actually been lately playing a lot of Magic: The Gathering, so I have a long history of Magic. I started when Revised came out, so in the very early years.
1993, that's when I started.
Yeah, and I kind of go in and out of it, and I had been out of time, and then when Final Fantasy came to Magic, I was like, okay, let me jump back into this. And so I do it in waves, and I'm on a kickoff right now for sure, and so I've been playing that a lot. I've been doing drafts at our local store. It's actually just a couple blocks over from our offices, and it's called Just Roll With It. Ryan's the owner out there here in Spring Hill, Tennessee, so if anyone's local, they should definitely go check out that store. It's a great space, a lot of table space, super friendly staff. They're definitely putting that in FLGS. So yeah, I've been doing that and just loving it. But yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I've wanted to look into the Final Fantasy set because, like you, I've been in and out of Magic since Revised, but every time I've seen where blisters or shelf displays should be, they're always empty. I've yet to actually see any of the Final Fantasy stuff in person. It's crazy.
I think I saw some stat or news saying like it was the most successful set, like by far.
I'm not surprised
that they've had.
I was actually talking to our local game store that is actually one of our sponsors for the stream. They were sitting there going, this one's been going very, very well. The next one is Spider-Man, which feels weird, but they said they're already getting a buzz. The one that they know they will have absolutely the worst time getting and keeping in will be the one that follows it, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I already know I'm going to be going hardcore into it. And I don't even play competitively anymore.
As for what I've been playing, so I have actually been playing more stuff on BGA again recently, just to try and explore some other things. There have been 2 games on there that I've been absolutely adoring. The first is a new release from Grand Gamers Guild. They put up Kokeshi, which is just set collection and tracks, and that's it. Like, you just place a tile, and then you bump a track. It is glorious, and I've played way too much of it. I've also been playing Chemical Overload, but as a straightforward, do very minimal things, but make fun combos happen. I've been enjoying that a lot. And then I just had Artistry come in from Duxomnium. That Kickstarter just delivered, and I have been playing the absolute snot out of that. It is a really cool set collection. I got the deluxe edition, so it has the Bakelite tiles, and it's too fancy because Duxomnium makes everything way too fancy. But those are really the big things I've been playing. There's been little stuff here and there, but I keep going back to all those right now.
Very cool.
We are sponsored by our great friends over at Grand Gamers Guild. They are having their annual Black Friday sale right now. Running through 11:59 Eastern Time on Monday, December 1st, you can find a wide array of their games to pick up at a big discount. Artemis Odyssey and the 80 minis for that game is over 50% off. Ovation and Pass, two games that we reviewed very well, are available. Garinto, a game I've been eyeballing for a long time, has multiple editions on sale as well. You can find the link to their website, grandgamersguild.com, in the episode notes. Additionally, in support of us, they're offering a referral code kickback to Board All the Time on their website. If you go to grandgamersguild.com and use discount code BATT10, that's BATT10, you'll make sure that we are supported and you let them know that we sent you. Thank you again so much to Grand Gamers Guild. Now go shop their holiday sale. So for our topic of the week, we are going to just take advantage of the fact we have AJ here because Van Ryder is a really interesting publishing studio to look at everything. You are one of the co-founders and you're the president of Van Ryder. And so my first question for you is just, do you enjoy what you do? And because you have been a designer as well as a developer on things, which hat do you like to wear more?
It's an interesting question. Well, definitely, I definitely enjoy what I do. Really, honestly, a dream job, and I don't ever take it for granted. And just our journey and our growth and where we are now with a company of, I don't know, I think we're 10 plus employees at this point, and I'll just walk from kind of starting this as just really a hobby and a lover of games and wanting to design stuff, and specifically solo games. It's a blast. So definitely loving it. To answer the first part of the question, the second part, you asked, would I like more design or development? Honestly, most of what I do these days is publishing the business stuff, but I do still do my fair share of development and design. I like both. Development, I feel, helps kind of scratch the same itch as design. You still get to be creative and you still get to take games mechanic and make changes and make the game better. You're just not building it from the ground up. And so there's something to be said for each. A lot of times when I am busy publishing and doing the business stuff, I can kind of go work on some development and design. But then every once in a while, you get that cool idea and you just want to go kind of make something from nothing, which is what designers are doing. So that's a roundabout way of not really answering your question. Which one I enjoy better? Because really I do enjoy both.
Sure.
I think if I had to just pick, I would pick design just because it's such a cool feeling to kind of create from nothing. Yeah.
And as a studio full of storytelling in high theme, I think it makes sense.
And since you do have so many themes and genres and even age ranges, because you've got, the graphic novel series, how do you decide which ones you want to develop? How do you decide where you're going to want to put your thumbprint on it?
That's kind of evolved over time. I mean, originally, first it was just me. So I wanted to do my own stuff. And then Evan, Derek, my business partner, kind of joined. It was just me and him as partners for a while. And so we were just making our own games. We make some other third-party design stuff too, but primarily the ones we put the most time into would be either my designs or Evan's designs or our co-design in the case of Final Girl. But now we have a bigger team and it's a little bit different. We're trying to figure all the time, like, okay, what do we go make? What do we shelve and kind of pause? And we both have games, and our team all has games that they don't ever see the light of day because not every idea becomes just a great game. And so sometimes that is after you make the first prototype, and sometimes it's after you've done several rounds of playtesting. And the lucky ones, the special ones, or the ones you think are going to be special, they're the ones that make it to sort of we're going to go actually make this a cardboard box, put it on the shelf. Mm-hmm. And so there's a whole kind of process. Until you have the game out, you're constantly making the decision to publish the game, right? Because you could change your mind at any moment if it's not out. And we have done that. And sometimes that hurts because you've invested a lot of time and maybe even money and resources. But if it's the best decision at that point, then that's okay to make that hard decision. But we typically call the alpha testing, which is kind of mostly internal testing. And then if something makes it to beta where it's going external testing, almost always ways we're going to make that game. It's rare. It has happened, but it's rare for us not to proceed with it at that point. But that's kind of how we do it. It's a little, and it's like what we do is loosey-goosey. We're not quite to the corporate level yet where we're just like, okay, it's what we're doing and here's the timeline. Although as we grow, we're moving to some of that. Yeah, that's a little bit of our process in rambling form.
To bite on what you said about the timeline thing, because I know you did the Year of Final Girl big announcement. I was following along all with that. When you guys announced that you were doing Bad Times at Buddyland early, and then you did the Shriek and the deluxe miniatures and all that stuff early before you were planning on doing them, how much that was, we want to make sure that people are seeing this versus if we don't do this, there may not be a Van Ryder. And if that's not an appropriate question, you don't have to answer that and I can cut that.
That's fine. I'm happy to answer that. So just to start, give people context on the Year of Fear. So we did the Year of Fear announcements. People can go watch still on our YouTube, where we announced what's happening after Series 3, because Series 3 got just earlier this year, February, March timeframe. And then, of course, everyone's like, okay, what's next? So we planned this big show. We have a studio now in our office, and we did actually it was live. We did a live YouTube where me and Evan went through the plan. So what we have done, and if you know or don't know the history of Final Girl, we historically have put a full series up on Kickstarter, and people can go buy it, 5 feature films, as we call them, which are different box expansions for Final Girl, and with a killer in a location. And that's how we've done it. But we said, where we're at with our company, we wanted to start to sort of change the model a little bit. So with Series 4, we announced, hey, we're going to start putting a feature film out every 3 to 4 months or so. And we are starting that now. And so with Series 3 just having come out, that was a big surprise to a lot of people. Like, hey, we're going to get another new feature film in just a few months. And we had already obviously been working on it a long time. And so that first one was Bad Times at Buddyland, which is mascot horror in the pizza arcade, of course. So we made that announcement. Of course, our fans loved it for a while. But we also announced, the next 3 feature films coming as part of Series 4, because we are going to culminate with a Kickstarter project where people can get all the Ultimate Box at once, or they've been collecting as they go. They can get the sort of fill the gaps pledge. Yeah, we announced Buddyland coming in a few months, and we announced Shriek, which is a special feature similar to North Pole Nightmare, which was like a seasonal box. Mm-hmm. And a special feature comes with the miniatures, unlike the feature films. And we said, hey, this is going to be a Gen Con release. And so all of that stuff, of course, is already in the works and in the manufacturer's hands and in process. And so then what you were alluding to is the tariffs got announced. And not only did they get announced, but they changed from week to week, and they went to an extreme level where essentially it would be impossible to run a profitable board game company. And so it was a scary time, and a lot of us in the industry were really wondering what was going to happen. And so we made the decision at that time, when the tariffs were still extremely high, because like I said, the games are being made at the factory. There's no turning back for us to just say, well, we're just going to wait this out. That wasn't an option. And so part of our plan with the new model was, we're just going to put these feature films straight out into retail stores. We're not going to do any pre-orders. We're not going to do any crowdfunding. The distribution and retailer tiers have so long, and we felt, hey, let's put these straight into stores, and they're going to love. They're going to, of course we'll get direct orders, but they're going to get a lot of buzz and sort of the sales, and we all win, right? So that was kind of what we wanted to do. And then when the tariff situation happened, we weren't in a position necessarily where we're not going to exist in 2 months if this continues, but obviously it would be a major issue continued for a long period of time. And so we made a decision that we were going to pivot, and we said, okay, we are going to do a pre-order. And so all of the stuff we had in the works and basically happening at the factories, which was Buddyland, Shriek, and then we had some special promo packs, and then the Buddyland miniatures, we put all of that up on a GameFound pre-order. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a crowdfunding, it was a true pre-order, because it was already coming. And the reason for that is, getting direct sale, the fact is we just keep more of the money, right, than when it goes through distribution. So, and with the new tariff charges, like that was kind of an important thing. So to me, cash is the most important thing. And so being able to do a pre-order and getting a lot in is a great stabilizing force for business. And we were in a good cash position anyway, but that, 165, whatever the percent was, tariffs, it's just going to really just derail everything. So the only way actually for us to bring that stuff, or if tariff rate stayed that high, would be to get the direct sales. And so we knew if in the worst case scenario, if that stayed, we'd still be able to do it. We'd still be able to kind of keep rolling along until hopefully it came back to a not ridiculous level, which fortunately it did. And by the time we went to charge the tariffs to the pre-order customers, it had gone back down to the rate it is now, I think, which is 30%. So crazy time, wild ride. We've sort of weathered that storm a little bit, I think. And the whole thing always was just having enough time to plan for it. It got sprung on everyone and we had no time to plan. Well, now that we've had some time, and it doesn't seem like the tariffs are going back to zero anytime soon, but we can kind of plan. We did do a price increase for some of our products to sort of account for that whole situation. But yeah, I think that hopefully answers your question. That's kind of was all the thought process around all that.
Yeah, it was when I saw all the pre-order stuff come up, I'm like, well, I don't know if this is needed or not, but I mean, Shriek is literally sitting in front of me, and I've got Buddy Land and my Season 3 box over there at the end of the table. Because, I mean, if I'm not playing Final Girl at least weekly, I'm playing it every other week. And so it was one of those, it was an easy decision for me. Plus, it's just fun to know that technically, because I do, I work with the Stonemeyer booth every year at Gen Con, I can look at the Slate Mayor at the Mega BG Con board, and they're like, I might be killing myself at this game this time. So you never know.
So I'm like, now the feedback has started to roll in. It's interesting because I can pretty much tell, like, when someone starts talking about Mega Board Game Convention location, I can almost tell based on how they talk about it if they've actually been to Gen Con or not. Because when you've been to Gen Con, there are loads of stuff in there. That you're going to just like immediately get and latch onto and go, oh, this is food court. But if you haven't, it's just, another location. You don't sort of see all those little, fun fact with that one. So I designed the location side of that one, and Evan designed more the killer. That's different than we've done in the past. And so I was the one, I wanted to do the convention, and I just kind of put all the little nuggets on the convention side of it.
We sat here when it was opened and we're like, oh, this is supposed to be Lucky Duck. This is Simon. This is, and we were cackling because like I've gone umpteen years now. I'm in the high teens for the con and I'm just going, yep, this is that one. And this is that one. And I was just dying. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah. I was sitting there like, if you slide over this booth like 4 spaces to the right, that's really where we are because, the docks are not far from our booth. It's a great board. For somebody, like, I generally dislike meta things. I actually really enjoyed this one.
Mark even introduced it to me. He's like, hey, Scott, I could get you to play this game and you could literally kill me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he shows me the map and I went, oh, because you'd be right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it when people will be like, the final showdown, of course, happened in the Van Ryder booth. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, come on. If you can't get excited about that, I don't know.
So, like, I'm guessing they talk to a lot of the companies about doing, like, hey, can I do a fun little take on your guys' logo or on your guys' name?
Yes.
The game that has my eye laser focus.
Enjoying thoroughly.
Yeah, because I haven't been able to get over here because I've been so busy to sit and play Dark Quarter. How was that process of getting the partnership with Lucky Duck to make Dark Quarter?
So that one was more sort of Evan's brainchild than mine. And that Evan had this idea for the game that he'd do, which is now the Dark Quarter. And originally the working title was, I don't know if anyone knows this actually, but the working title is Voodoo Nights. And Evan had kind of approached Vincent. We're friends with Vincent, who CEO. He's still involved, but they're with Goliath now, so I don't know actually what his title is, but CEO at the time. And because what he wanted to do really needed, we have no experience or knowledge or expertise to make an app. And so we knew if we wanted to do that we had to get a partner. And Lucky Duck was already off showing, Chronicles of Crime, some of these other things. They definitely know how to do apps. And hey, we knew Vincent and we were all talking about it could maybe work. And so it was at Gamma, might have been 6 years ago now or even 7, but it was still in Reno at the time. And Evan sat Vendia, and that's kind of how it started. And we went from there, and Evan sort of formal presentation to them. And then where I came in was really mostly negotiating the licensing deal, the co-publishing agreement. And once we got that done, then it was off to the races in terms of design and stuff. And that one was a long journey. I'm not going to get into that really, but a lot of hurdles, challenges, unforeseen things that came up. We did finally get it out this year, and hopefully people are enjoying it.
To look at the game, you definitely see the touches that is definitely Lucky Duck, but then to have that overarching story in such a dark setting, it really does scream Van Ryder. And this is a gorgeous marriage between your guys' two companies.
So Evan he's a really great writer. Not everyone enjoys his style, but I think most people do. He designed and wrote Detective City of Angels, which is our 1940s Los Angeles detective game, and a pretty widespread acclaim, and one of the best detective games, if not the best out there, in my opinion. Completely biased. It's great. If you haven't tried it,
it is on my short list. I have been wanting to try it so badly, and I just haven't had the opportunity to yet. But my question for you, actually, I'll ask you because I think it folds into this nicely, is you guys kind of keep touching on tabletop and storytelling in that way, because detective, very much from everything I've looked at it, your chisel is the DM of the session, and then you have all the players. You have the Revenant Society, which is an honest to God tabletop, which is, I could gush about that theme for way too long. I love that. But you guys haven't done a full hardcore push into tabletop despite experimenting with that. Is that on purpose? Is that something you would want to do more with? Or do you just want to keep looking at detective and saying, you know what, the game is awesome, we can keep doing big campaigns for it, let's keep supporting that instead?
I'll come back to the tabletop because I do want to talk about Detective. So we have Detective Heist and Heartbreak coming out for a pre-order here in just a few weeks, and that's going to be, I don't want to say for sure the last. Right now, we don't have any plans for any future expansions for Detective after that. Doesn't mean we won't in the future, but currently that's that. And so did definitely want to shout that out, and that's coming. And so, yeah, we've definitely supported that one for several years because it's just such a system. It is not the easiest to sort of design, develop, and the process does take a long time for that one, but it's just such a great experience. So going back to your question about tabletop, Revenant Society was kind of hey, maybe let's see, how we can do with an RPG. And I say RPGs because I think of table everything. I know the RPG community called tabletop. It basically synonymous with RPGs. As a board gamer, I've always found that confusing, but I get it now. Yeah, we've kind of dabbled, and not just that. We are frequently trying different channels and trying to see, hey, do you want to move into this, or do we want to put? A lot of times we learn that what we're thematic board game, and so we've done a lot of family weight games, and we do some hybrids, even Saloon Tycoon. You could even probably maybe call a Euro. It has a lot of that element. So we do like to do some of these different things, and sometimes that's just like we want to make a game. Like me and Evan talked, even though we know we're best at thematic games, sometimes we want to have fun making a light dice game. So Popcorn Dice comes out. We don't ever want to just pigeonhole ourselves into we can only make thematic solo games, and that's all we're going to be. But at the same time, we also recognize what we are best at. So we're never going to move fully away from sort of our core competencies, what we're best at. But that doesn't mean we don't want to explore and look at other channels possible.
Sure. And
so that's kind of what we did with Revenant Society. And it was, I would call it moderately successful, not crazy successful. Also, it just depends on, kind of going back to that earlier question, like everything is opportunity cost. If we decide to put a ton of effort and resources into an RPG, which they take a lot of effort and resources.
They do.
Then that's something else that we're not doing, right? So everything gets kind of put together in the pile for us to decide, okay, what are we going to do? And right now, I don't think we have anything in the near term that's going to happen on the RPG side. We've definitely not ruled out possibilities of that. I mean, we definitely for Final Girl RPG and things like that. So it just all depends. But right now, I think kind of making the decision to continue on board games, and we'll always have thematic board games, and then we'll do other things as well.
A Final Girl RPG would be amazing. I think also what would be really interesting, I think that people could get behind, is a Blood on the Clock Tower or werewolf style that was housed within the world of Final Girl.
Yeah, that would be interesting, like a social deduction kind of style game could be cool. Well, I should say, so I love this. I'm taking these moments Revenant Society. So we did put out. It didn't get a lot of buzz or anything, but we did. Julie on our team did a one-shot scenario. It's Gen Con for Gen Can't, basically, like anyone who couldn't make it. It's on Drive Through RPG. That if you want another scenario for Revenant Society, that's there. And then we also have another one in the plans for Essen. Not too long after, it might even be out when people are hearing this.
I am quite literally on Drive Through RPG getting that right now.
Awesome.
Because Revenant Society is great. It's such a beautiful production, which is what you guys do as well. But it's so cool. I've loved using it for one-shots specifically. So I had to ask about it because I knew you probably don't get asked about it a ton, but I wanted to, so I did. But the last question I'm going to ask right now is, you guys built a very modular system with Hostage Negotiator. You went ahead and redeveloped it, reintegrated it for Final Girl, and I'm willing to sit here and say that they are two very different games. I like the theme of Final Girl more, which is why I'm still in that. But one of the things that I've really enjoyed seeing is how many different people have credits within the system. Is that a way to kind of vet other designers, or you just want to work with more people, or are you just saying, you know what, let's have some fun and let people mess around with this system because it is that flexible?
We do primarily design from within first. Me and Evan found out early on that most of the things were things that we're designing ourselves and sort of building from the ground up and pouring all of our passion into. That's what we did with Final Girl. In the beginning, the first series is all myself and Evan. And then as we got successful, we decided, hey, let's give some of our other team opportunities. There were a few select folks that we worked with outside of our company. So one funny story is when we did Once Upon a Full Moon, which is Julie Ahern on our team, she was not actually an employee of ours. She worked for Greenbrier Games. We knew her. She was a friend. And so she did that for us as a third party. And then, of course, later on, we ended up hiring her, so she's now an employee. But we also went and we worked in Series 3. We worked at Katja Howitson and Ryan Jajorian, who did a feature film. Mike Martins, who's now basically a lead developer and line manager for the project for Final Girls. He's now an employee as well, but he's been a long time, basically lead playtester for us before that, all the way back to Hostage Negotiator. And he designed Abductor Pack 8 for Hostage Negotiator, which was several years ago. But he did A Knock at the Door, which is definitely a fan favorite feature film. He's done Falconwood Files. Of course, Marty designed Bad Times at Bloodyland, and so he's a true sort of external person as well. But for the most part, we're doing it inside. I use a little bit of caution because, we actually get a lot where fans come and say, hey, feature film, I want to do this idea. How do I submit it to you guys? And we don't really accept outside submissions. Usually when we do stuff, we are actually going to them to invite them to design for the system. And I tell people, I'm not going to look at your fan design. It's not that I don't think it would be cool. A lot of times it's happened before where we're already working on something similar idea, and I don't want to bias or be influenced by their fan design. And so it's always I'm just not going to look at it. And here's why. I just know they've probably put a lot of work into it. The answer they're wanting is, oh, yes, we'll look at it and we'll. The reality is we mostly do things internally.
Hey, BATT Family. If you've been listening along to this point, you've probably heard the breakup and audio artifacting and such within AJ's audio track. The evening we recorded this, we had a major storm on our end, and for AJ, he seemed to be having some odd issues on his. It created another very difficult edit for this episode. On the whole, I think the episode has come together quite well, but right here, when we had an extended conversation about Final Girl and our favorite boxes, the quality just dropped dramatically. I've got the pieces of the conversation, and we'll be hopefully cobbling all together for the odds and ends episode coming near the end of the year. Thank you again so much for putting up with all these weird things in these past couple episodes. It's a joy trying new stuff and swinging for the fences, right? We love that you're coming along with us, though, on it, and I can safely say that the episodes coming after this, you won't be hearing any more from Future Mark.
So, hi everybody. We are here in the future. We are talking with AJ in the rest of the episode, but he was unable to play Courtier before we got to this. So, we are doing this segment with Jason. We are able to get him in on this. We are also going to be continuing on into the table shelf and trade segment with us, and then we'll go back to our conversation with AJ. So, thank you for kind of handling, this is kind of a weird episode, but this is the way we're doing it. So,
It's a little timey-wimey.
yeah, it is. So let's go ahead and get into it. Why did I play that? Jason, as we've said before, your routine favorite segment, and I think you might actually be regretting that this time.
This one left a taste in my mouth.
We are talking about the game Courtier by Philip Dubarry. This was the game that launched AEG's Tempest line, which had 4.5 games in it because Love Letter was technically in this line as well. And this one is one that at one point was my number one game of all time.
I'm making a face, people. No for spoilers, but I'm making a face at Mark.
Yeah, I heard your face. I don't know how I could hear a face, but I heard it.
Courtier came out in 2012, and at the time, as it turns out, I played a lot more significantly meaner games than I do now.
Yep.
Admittedly, when I went into this play, it had been years since I had played this. Probably almost, 7-8 years since I last played it. I fell right back into my old grooves. It was very surprising to me how much I was back into this. But I will say, if I had not played it and had it played so much back then, I would have probably had the same reaction you guys did.
Can you guess our reaction?
Courtier is an area majority game and a contract fulfillment game where you are going to be starting by building a hand of cards that you are going to have a draft for, where you are bidding some of your power cubes. Because there are two types of cards. There are influence cards, which allow you to place cubes out onto various courtiers, and there are power cards that allow you to move cubes around or basically sabotage and just manipulate what's on the board. When it is your turn, you're either going to play one of your cards, you're going to take an extra cube from your reserve, or you're going to just discard cards from your hand and draw back up. There are going to be some public petitions, and there are private petitions that you also have. And once you have majority control of a courtier, and that courtier is full of influence cubes, you are going to claim them and use them for fulfilling a petition. So, for instance, if I have one that says I need the cardinal and the physician, those two need to be capped out, and I have to be in the majority for that. If I do, then I get to score that petition. We are going to put out a new, it's called fashion card, which is going to be something that affects the round coming up, and it's going to wipe out the cubes that are on there. So it essentially resets that courtier because, okay, you've built enough favor with me, I've done what you need me to do, now go away. The game goes for an indeterminate amount of rounds because when a petition is scored, like I said, you're going to flip over that new fashion card. Somewhere in the bottom half of the deck is the queen is arrested for treason. That ends the game. That means the game can go 7 rounds or it could go like 14 rounds. Like I said, if I didn't have the nostalgia that I did for this game, I would not be about this because this game is mean in a way that I forgot. And it made me realize how many mean games I used to play and how mean all the players I used to play were. And that's probably one of the reasons I can't stand it now, to be completely fair.
So you're basically saying it's a why did I play this to yourself as well?
No, because I have that nostalgia, because I have that really deep set of experience with this.
Nostalgia cushion is a big thing for this
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Oh, it's a huge
yeah.
thing for this. Like, I'm able to put up with a lot because I have played it so very much. But had I not done that, I would not want to engage with this. For me, at this point, it's a table. It's probably a 6 because I have that nostalgia. But frankly, if you like mean games, if you like really cutthroat, really manipulative games, there's a lot of good here. I just don't have the capacity for it anymore. And that is the end of the good stuff you're going to hear about this game. Proceed, my fellows.
Hated it. We made it through 2 rounds. It was so mean. It was so mean. I've played mean games before, and that it made the mean games that I've played before seem like tickle fights. I don't think I've ever been more pissed at people playing a game than I was at this game. Like, I literally felt my blood pressure rise. I was starting to get hot, and my face was getting red. I could feel it. And I'm looking at this game. I'm having the same type of reaction, like instant reaction, as when we played Captain Sonar. Except I was going into panic mode with that one, and this one I'm like, I could light it on fire and I wouldn't care, but I won't. Oh my god. I was like, okay, this might work. And then I went, no, this is way too, this makes me want to stab people. This is not fun.
For a little devil's advocate, I do think that personal player state can make a very big difference on how you, Scott, view games.
I was in a perfectly okay mood at this point when we were playing.
Right. Like, so at least for some of the other games like Captain Sonar or whatnot, the player state, or like, you know, how your mental state was, does have a heavy effect on how you perceive a game and how you're going to enjoy it or not.
Oh, I could totally agree to that.
This one is not the case.
This one is not the case.
No, and that's how I'm going to go ahead and finish that point, is that this game will instantly give you that feeling of, I am already feeling ire towards my friend in a single turn, which is, it's just, as you said, mean is the best way to put it. From a player standpoint, that even in competitive games, I try to go ahead and stay pretty nice when it comes to it. I try to go ahead and, if I have to be mean about something, I try to go ahead and have...
There's got to be a reason for it.
Right. Yes, and it's got to go ahead, like, I try to spread it out a little bit, too, because I don't want to go ahead and just pick on somebody or dogpile on one person. That's not how I want to go ahead and play a game, because I also don't feel like that's how I'm going to win a game, because it's just not the play style. If you are a mean game-playing person, that is your persona for games, then this is absolutely something for you. Mm-hmm. If you can tear down somebody in a board game, this is the game for you. I will say, in the beginning of playing one of the games that we just ended up getting at this last Gen Con, Zenith, I had small portions of that with some of the take that, or I'm going to take that aspect of the game, and I quickly turned around on it.
Yeah, you were not doing well with that one at first, and then I'm like, just, I swear, hold, you're going to get there, and then at the end of it, you're like, yeah, I got to buy it now.
Yeah, that one was a, let it simmer and see what it turns out to be.
Yeah.
And in that case, it was a souffle. This game is...
This is a box of knives wrapped in razor blades.
Yes. I really wanted to give it a chance, and I would have played all the way through with you just to say that I did it. However, I think this is one of two games that I've played with you guys in the entirety of playing games with you guys
for almost a decade.
About a decade now, that I said, absolutely not, I don't need to play this again. The iconography and everything in the game is pretty clear. Everything is nice and orderly. The board is simplistic and easy to understand. I like how they set everything up for being a 15-year-old game, something like that.
13 years.
13-year-old game. That was close.
Yeah.
You feel that it's a bit dated in that sense. This reminds me of a lot of my 90s games that I have.
This is very much in line with those early Euro games that came over that were turbo mean.
Yeah.
I was going to state that this is a piece from gaming history.
Yeah. So it feels like one of those staples that a lot of people talk about and a lot of people want to collect. But I just don't see any drive to want to continue playing this game. And it's nothing to the designer. He designed it to go ahead and be this way. It is not a game for me by any means.
And here's the thing. I think Philip Dewberry is a really interesting designer who has some really thoughtful design choices he puts in. He's done this Black Orchestra. He did Spirits of the Rice Paddy, Citizens of the Spark. Like, you can see a very wide array of design choices between him, and I think there are moments in this that you can find in something like Citizens of the Spark, because there are a few knifey things there that the design here is strong.
Yep.
It works very well, but if you do not like, I am going to punch you in the face from the jump, and I'm never going to let up until the game is over, whenever that happens, avoid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the plague. I will say that he has tapered down that feeling when you mentioned Citizens of the Spark. That's a game that we've played. That's a game that I bought. And it's one that I think is leaps and bounds better and more enjoyable than this game. I don't want to say better when it comes to the design process or anything, because again, I think this one is designed just fine. It works how it's supposed to. But games like Citizens is going to meet such a bigger market, and it is more friendly. It is easier of a teach. It is a lot prettier. Oh my God, that artwork, I love it.
But again, 13 years.
Yeah, there's a difference in time.
So leaps and bounds, I would go ahead and say. But there is some remnants of a little bit of take that in games like that. But I do see kind of the evolution that he's gone through. And I will say, bravo, sir. You have evolved.
What would you score it?
Scott?
Are negative numbers allowed? I mean, the whole thing is, okay, so this is a game. It does function. My personal feelings on it because of how rough this game is. Yes, we did a majority game that is already, I'm already going to score it low regardless. So it has to be a 2 because it's not a 1.
The game functions.
The game functions.
You just hate it.
I would like to use it to light a fire.
You're not going to. But
I'm not going to, no. Like, this could line a hamster cage. I'd be like, oh, look at that. We need something to line a hamster cage. I got an idea. Give me one moment. I want to like it. The artwork is fine. I get what they were going with. It's definitely very period. The icons all make sense. Everything about this game makes sense. It functions well as a game. It is way too mean for what it is. It is definitely, it's a part of history. It's gaming history. This is what came over at that time. And that's how a lot of the games were in the early teens. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I didn't buy these type of games in the early teens, because I was buying stuff that was a lot more fun and definitely more lighthearted. And
yeah,
that's
the aughts and teens are mean.
The aughts and teens were mean. Because the whole thing is the aughts and teens, you had one away. They were either goofy, silly, family weight, trivia, cute card games, fun stuff that was
awful green things from outer space nonsense.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Or it was
Kalis.
Yes. It's going to be the heaviest, hardest, most mechanics. Look at all the things you have to do. You have 15 things that you have to try to, all the plates are spinning at the same time. Mean. And I didn't like it then. I definitely don't like it now. So yes, it is a 2 because it functions as a game. There is someone that will like this, especially if you decide you don't like the people you're playing with.
Like I said, this taught me area majority, and it taught me how much I like area majority. And it's one of the things that has been so fun for me to explore over the past 13 years of let me find area majority games that I can enjoy significantly more. Even going backwards to El Grande, which you enjoyed, and I think you would really enjoy too. El Grande is a great game. Area majority, nowhere near as mean.
Yeah.
So my 6 is very much who I was at the time, what this taught me, where I was. Realistically, I would probably give this a 4.
That's exactly what I was going to go with. If I partition my enjoyment and my bias as a game, I put this at a 4. When I go ahead and factor in what's for me and what's not for me, I put it at a deuce as well, because it is playable, but it is not something that I would need to replay by any means. I would only play this to go ahead and play it to completion to say that I did at least once.
So that is why I play that for this particular episode. Jason, that's what you get for Cowboy Bebop.
Wow!
And I will happily bring that out over this game every time.
I would happily play that game over this one.
I would play it. Let's move on into Table Shelf and Trade. It's going to be an interesting array. So I have already talked quite a bit. Scott, let's go ahead and have you kick off for TST.
Yeah, from all the way back in 2000 and talk about Carcassonne. Yeah. I hate Carcassonne.
Oh, you stab me every time you say this.
Yeah. I'm just going to state right now, it's a 2 for me.
Yeah.
I know people love this game. There's tournaments. There's all sorts of things. And there's so much to this game. Territory building, the tile laying, and area majority. And yeah, I think this is the reason. One of the reasons why I don't like area majority is just because of how if you play against people that know what they're doing,
sure,
they're going to murder you.
Sure.
And that's exactly what happened with all my experiences of Carcassonne. And I will state, I don't want to light it on fire like other games.
Courtier.
Yeah, it's not Courtier. Yeah, I would rather, to go all the way back to the early times, I'd rather play that stupid caveman game.
Endless Winter.
I'd rather play Endless Winter than Carcassonne.
Oh, I thought he was going to talk about that volcano game that we played.
Wrath of Fire Mountain.
Yeah.
Wrath of Fire Mountain. Well, yeah, I didn't, but yeah, I've never had a good experience with Carcassonne, and I don't find it enjoyable. I don't find any part of it enjoyable.
I give Carcassonne a 9. I absolutely adore Carcassonne. Wow. I think it is incredible. I think it plays phenomenally well at 2 because it is cutthroat. But what you are playing, it is a game that I think scales very well. It is a game that has way too many expansions. You don't need anything more. Honestly, you kind of don't need any expansions. But for the simplicity and the clarity of that design, it is so glorious. And trying to maneuver your way in, yes, it does have the area majority stuff of I need to control a city, but at the same time, how can I wedge my way into the city? How can I make this happen? How can I react to the tile that I have in my hand, or the 3 if you're playing that variant? It is just, that game is delicious because it is a purity of design that you can play very casually. And you can even just play like, you know what, we're just going to try and build the biggest cities out there, and we don't even have to play for points. We're just going to develop a map. I have done that before, essentially as a front porch activity of let's just discuss and play some tiles. Or you can play super, super competitive cutthroat of I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that I cut you out. But the game has that flexibility, and I have never had a bad time with Carcassonne. I love it. It's... I love Carcassonne.
I think it's because everybody that I've played has been super mean than I am when I play Magic.
That's fair.
Well, that gives some very, very different player experiences from a 2 to a 9. That is huge. I have never had the pleasure/displeasure of playing Carcassonne.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it's probably by design that I haven't had to go and worry about that because, again, I'm not big into mean games, and seeing how that one can be stabby, probably just shied away from it at its base. But it's, again, I would at least try it once.
We'll sit down and play it. I'm not going to force it to be a why did I play that, but at a 2-player, I think you'll enjoy it just to see where it stands historically and how many games that we enjoy are directly derivative of Carcassonne.
That's something that I can definitely understand. I know that it is quite a pillar in the community, so I can understand how a lot of other games have stemmed from it. And I think we've made comparisons back and forth in either pod or non-pod conversations we've had. So I would like to at least give it a chance.
Yeah, I think you should.
So I'm going to go ahead and start off with one that we have actually did a stream for and that we've done a bit of a review for. That was from Lucky Duck Games. Came out last year. My first one is going to be Tariki.
Oh, so good.
I am going to go ahead and preface this by just letting everybody know it is an app-driven game. It is best to go and be played with a few people, and it is just an island exploration game where you get to go and explore the island, and it's survival, and you're trying to escape the island by putting things together and...
saving your professor!
Or letting him
die.
Get poisoned or eaten by an alligator or something.
Somehow he survived. I don't get it.
I don't know why. I really enjoyed this game when we got to go and play it. I think that it is going to be amazing to play, especially with families, being able to go ahead and show your kids all the different cool things that you can do with this. It is a fantastic game. This one is a table for me, and the pure reason why it is a table is that I'm not going to be able to get this game out very much, especially with the crew that I have. I will get this out, and then I probably will not want to go and play it for quite some time, mainly because I want to forget everything that we did to be able to get off the island. Because, at least on my part, replayability is not there unless I lose my memory.
So there's part of me that I agree with you that the replayability does suffer in the sense of I'm not going to finish the campaign and turn right around and do it again.
Yeah.
But I do think it's one that if you were playing with your kids or you are wanting to give them a game where they can just play and get lost in and adventure and do things, I think there's a lot of really good there. But I agree with you. Yeah. I have thought about it quite a bit. For me, it's actually a shelf. I have it as an 8.
Yeah.
I really like Tariki, and even though it's not come out since we finished the stream, I gotta admit I thought about it a pretty decent amount. I really enjoyed it, and it's a game that I had an amazing amount of fun with all of you guys. Mm-hmm. I would have a blast playing it with my family. It has such a good scope and scale of who it can adapt to, and it really does do that emergent narrative really, really well in a way that I did not expect it. The fact that the professor voice still comes out is because it became a thing, right? Like, that's how attached we all became to hating this guy.
Yep.
But
You made it really easy to hate this guy.
what can I say? But at the same time, hey, Jason, you remember that crocodile?
Oh my God. I
See?
still can't get to him.
So that's what I mean. Like, yes, I entirely agree. I think the replayability is incredibly low unless you're waiting like 4 years to play it. Or if you have kids or somebody that just want to play and explore and keep exploring.
Yeah.
Because as a group of adults, we finished the campaign in, what, 6-7 hours, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we had two streams to do it.
If I were playing with my sons, we could play it for 20-30 minutes at a shot because the save system is so good.
Yep.
And they could play it for a long time and really enjoy themselves. So on one hand, entirely agree, entirely understand. But on the other hand, I think depending on who you're playing with, you might find more replayability there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a 7. It's definitely a table because it was one of those things that, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it because it's, we were doing it for the stream, because Lucky Duck sent it to us. And I was just like, cool, I'm going to put on my best actor face. And then we got through one turn and we were all laughing so hysterically.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, this is genuine. This is genuine glee that I'm having right now because it's a well thought out family game.
Jason and I's pirate adventure.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Oh my God. Yeah, you guys with your pirate adventure, me being stung by bees and stuck at the campfire
Hey,
for like
you
2
found
turns.
popcorn and weird chickens.
That's true.
Yeah.
I found the popcorn and the
Yeah.
weird chickens. I figured out how to capture them.
We played this last October.
Yep.
And this is the amount of
Oh my
joy-
God, and we're almost at we're almost a full year. Well, I mean, we were at Secret Door Games, and someone was going, "Oh, blah blah blah," my family. I'm like, "Have you seen Tariki?"
Yeah.
And like they've got a copy, and
So
they're
good.
like, "Oh, what's it about?" Like what you said. I can play it a 30-minute stint, and as long as the kid's attention is going to be lasting, and then you can save it and be done, put it away.
Yep.
Love it.
I will say that it is at an 8.3 on BGA, so take that for
On
what you will.
BGG, it's an 8.3.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really impressive.
Especially for a family weight game. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
I am going into a game that is just flat out killing another game out of my collection.
Yep.
You have heard me speak very highly of Dominion over, the entire length of our gameplay
Yeah,
experience.
quite a bit.
I think Dominion is great. I think it is straightforward. It is clean mechanisms. It is too many expansions. It's all the things. But there's so many card sets that you can land in with Dominion of, okay, I guess this is going to be a long game. Like, unless you specifically take the time and you are going to curate your array of cards in front of you. Ugh. Like, there's many issues I have with Dominion, despite the fact I give the game an 8, and I very much enjoy it. That is not the game that I'm talking about, though.
Nope.
I am talking about Chemical Overload. And this game, I found it on Board Game Arena when it released, I don't know, last month before, whenever. Played it once, loved it, went out, bought a physical copy of it, have been playing it on BGA since, and have, I don't want to say forced, but I have played this with a bunch of people already, because this is the same idea of very clean design, very understandable. It has some really great twists within the deck building formula, of when I buy a card, it goes right on top of my deck. If I am buying a flask, it is going to go onto my player board, so it's immediately usable. It has this acceleration in a way that makes your engine work, and it makes you look at the cards you have in hand, of which you generally only have like 3 types, so you don't even have to worry about how am I going to make this card work with the other thing. No, it's just, I'm going to get my chemicals, I'm going to have my flasks, I'm going to develop the potions, and I'm going to keep rolling through. It's clean. It works. I very much enjoy this. The reason that I am only giving this a 9 and not a 10 is the toxin cards can feel a little weird. They can feel a little swingy or mean in a way that on a game-to-game basis, they can feel more random in a way that
Yes.
I don't love. But everything else about the game means that I don't care, and I'm willing to just adapt to whatever the toxin card is for whatever that particular round is. I really enjoy this game. I think it is beautiful. I cannot wait for Entropy, the expansion, to launch. I really, really love Chemical Overload. It's great. It is by Rebirth Games, and Michael and Katie Crandall are the designers. That's not on the box. I don't know why. I think they should put their names on here, but Look it up. The game is beautiful. I got the deluxe edition, so there's some really fancy coins and all kinds of stuff in here. But otherwise, I really love this game.
It was really fun to go ahead and play. We played 4-player of it, I believe.
We played 4. I have played it at every player count, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, we had a good time playing with it. I think everybody picked it up pretty quickly, so the teach wasn't too difficult to go and worry about. The toxin cards were a bit swingy. I do remember afterwards we looked at a couple of them, and it does seem like a couple, when you hit a certain point, could absolutely just train wreck somebody's kind of engine that they were trying to build, but some of them were kind of inconsequential. So I wonder if it could have benefited maybe from a difficulty level marker on those toxins to be able to split it up, but
I think that what was so interesting about the game was just the sheer fact of when that toxin showed up, depending on what level we were at, was the strength of the toxin. So yeah, typically the later in the round, it's like, oh God, this is going to hurt. You know, those earlier ones were like, oh, this actually has a benefit for us. So, you know, it was, swingy is the easiest way to say it, but I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, the components for it were great. I know you got the deluxe edition, but I definitely enjoyed the iconography. It was very, very easy to understand. The game in and of itself, simple, fun. It was just nice to go ahead and see the cool artwork and stuff.
So what would you guys rate it?
Ooh, I think it's a solid 8 for me.
Cool.
I like that type of game. I actually really like the toxin cards. I think it was definitely one of those, like, I have to do this because it's got to go for my game. Sorry that we're going to have to deal with this toxin. And so, yeah, like, I thought it was great. I thought the theme was great. It made sense with everything that they're trying to do. I love the idea, like, because we were talking about in the middle of the game, like, yeah, I buy the flask it goes right on top of my deck. Well, I make the potion, the flask, therefore, that has to go into the discard because I have to wash the flask so I can use it again. It makes sense. So, yeah, it was just, everything worked well with me.
Now, a clarification, just because we didn't get to play it as much, so it's not fresh. For the toxins, we triggered those because there were potions that we created that were toxic.
Correct.
But the toxic potions were essentially randomized in the stacks. And the thing that I felt was a little bit, and this is personal preference, and that's it, is that if there is a potion that is toxic compared to the regular potion, and they're just randomized again into the deck, having some type of modifier for that card specifically would have been cool to go ahead and see it, instead of just a group thing where, you know, it is going to go ahead and bump it up on the toxin track for the overall, like, shop of the chemical overload. But it would have been nice just to go ahead and see that maybe because it was a toxic potion that maybe it did one more thing or gave you like one extra coin or some kind of thing just to make it more unique. But that was my only...
Or because it was toxic, it was cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, there was no difference between a non-toxic and a standard.
Right.
It was literally the exact same thing. It had the exact same cost and creation.
What I liked about that system, though, is it doesn't rely on the game being like, okay, you have to run out certain stacks. You have to do XYZ thing. It was the fact that you were able to buy in, and there, depending on the cost of the card, there is a strict, if you're a 2-cost card, there's 10 copies of it. There are 3 toxic and there are 7 non-toxic. So you know how you can progress the game, and it feels very natural of, you know, I can build a lot of potions and still feel like I built a fun engine and did a lot in the game and not just have it be like, bam, we're done.
Yeah.
I think that this one is a solid 9, and I feel like it could go higher or lower depending upon what the expansion is, because I feel like if the expansion goes the way it does, it could move up to a 10 for me with how just awesome it is already.
That's cool. That's very cool. There's not a lot of information for Entropy yet, but their description is toxins rise and potions get personal. I'm very excited to see what happens. The Kickstarter preview page is up, but no details on it yet, so... Anyways, thank you so much for popping in for this, Jason.
Yeah.
Everybody, we are going to get back to our conversations with AJ now. For our rotating segment this week, we wanted to use you as an inspiration for this because of Gateway Island. And so we have a new segment that we are calling Showing Off. And basically the idea here is you have a brand new player, somebody who has, you know, they know the things that we all knew from childhood, but they've never played a game before. What is the game that you want to start them off with? Scott, I know what you're going to pick, but go ahead and tell us what your pick is.
I mean, I have to start with Dice Throne, mainly because of the simplicity of the game. It honestly is a very simple game.
And it's an easy translation from Yahtzee to there.
Yes, exactly. And it gives you that nice little video game vibe because it's like you're picking your character in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all those things. And I think it's a nice little segue to get over and then like slide them into something that's a little harder, which is Dice Throne Adventures, because then it's a little bit more meat. There's some customization that is allowed to happen. And so like, that's why I put Dice Throne. I mean, as soon as you looked at it, you're like, oh, what you're going to pick? And I went, I know exactly what I'm going to pick because it's such easy skill set. I mean, it's all rolling dice. It's matching symbols. You can't get much simpler than that, especially when you slide over and do the Dice Throne Adventures, which does have the modularity and the randomization of the tiles. It's not as...
It has the co-op avenue to be able to ask questions.
Yes, you have that build up, and like Marvel Dice Throne does a great job with that too, with their new Marvel Dice Throne missions. It definitely helps doing the co-op style and learning how to teach the game and how to make these things your own and not have to spend like as much as you would for, let's say, Gloomhaven. Like, you know how much I love Gloomhaven, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
Dice Throne doesn't have to be as much.
Yeah, that's fair. AJ, what about you?
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Gateway Island. That would be a pick if I wasn't going to I'm not going to pick that because that's cheating. But I tend to like Small World as a introductory game for folks. I think that it has just enough meat on the bone while also being pretty simple to get into and just with a lot of so many different factions or races on the board that you can pick and different power. The mix and match thing is really cool, but ultimately it's placing your guys out and then you're compete for 7 rounds and it doesn't out welcome. So yeah, I think that's one I like to use to introduce new folks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've used it in that capacity as well. The moment of when do I put my race in decline always throws people, and I still, after playing that game an ungodly amount, I don't have a good answer for anybody.
Yeah, neither do I.
I feel like I'm pretty good at it, but it's one of the most fun decisions in the game. One of the most fun aspects of the game. Like you wouldn't be like, strategically, that could be the decision that makes or breaks your game.
And especially because, you know, if you do it right, you can decline 3 times. And like it's such a fun game. I mean, yeah, the flying and all that stuff, all the modifiers, that gets a little weird. But thematically, it's like, hey, skeletons, there's a lot of them, and then they're worthless. So it is really useful for a new player to be like, do you know anything about fantasy tropes? Cool. Here we are. And then you have Small World of Warcraft, which, if you're pulling in your computer players, that's another easy avenue in as well. I like that choice. It's not one I would expect.
I think what might work too is because it looks like it's going to be a lot. And so if they're excited, it's like, oh, wait, is this too much? But then when you play it, it's not, right? And so it's like, oh, yeah, I think it might help give them a little confidence. I'm here for this. Yeah, let's what's out? What else is there?
Nice.
Which is what we all want, right?
Oh yeah, especially when we're trying to get new people.
Yeah, you want to say, oh, what other games?
So for me, and I built the board and I just put it on the table, and Scott looks very confused because I don't think you've ever seen this game. Floodgate Games has this amazing game called Holy, the Festival of Colors. It's based on the holiday. And the reason I go here is it is bright and it's colorful and it looks kind of overwhelming. But because so many people come into gaming with just that abstract background of, I know chess, I may not be good at chess, but at least I understand movement of pieces. Holy is a 3-tier game board where you are going to be starting on the bottom layer and you are throwing color at the other players. And you are trying to get certain patterns on the board around you, because once you're completely surrounded, you're able to move up a level. And so now every piece of color that you throw scores more, but it also drops from level 2 to level 1, and then from level 3 all the way down potentially. So it has that great table presence. It comes in with that, okay, so I know some abstract games, and then it just is unique in the way that you hear 4D chess and whatever in Star Trek, and you think like, okay, games like that don't actually occur. Holy exists, and it's such a neat idea to put in front of somebody. Have you had an opportunity to play this, either of you?
I had not heard of it. I actually just went and looked it up. BGG. So no, that's a totally new to me game. Sounds interesting.
I have heard of it. It's one of those things that just the look of it, for me, it looks intimidating. I would personally shy away from it just because of the look of it, though.
They're the pieces.
Yeah, I mean, the pieces are great. I mean, they're super cute. But yeah, that big of a thing makes you go, oh boy. But, you know, maybe I would enjoy it. I don't know.
It really does look much more intimidating than it is. Because, I mean, again, there's no any other game out there that looks like this. I mean, maybe Queen's Gambit, but if you have a copy of Queen's Gambit sitting around, honestly, you're probably not pulling it out because it's so expensive. But yeah, this one's really neat. I really enjoyed this. This had a presence in Barnes & Noble there for a couple of years. I got this off of Kickstarter, and I've really enjoyed it for this purpose. I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about Holy. Let's pull this out. So
Very cool.
yeah. Well, AJ, thank you so very much for coming on to the show with us. We really appreciate you being here. So if there's anything that you want to pitch or talk about or just plug in general, go nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are basically releasing the next feature film per our Series 4 plans called A Rotten Harvest for Final Girl, of course. And this is sort of like a pumpkin head killer and their demonic children trying to sacrifice. Definitely look for that. And secondly, we are putting out another game, and this game that is a license for us, which is called Enemies and Lovers. And this game is a take that card game, and the author's name is Holly Black, and it's a book series, the Elfhame novel. And the first book is called The Cruel Prince. And think like fairy Game of Thrones, this really cool sort of fairy setting world. And I've learned a new I guess romantasy is a term.
Yep, romantasy is definitely a term.
Yeah, so it has a rabid fan base. We were talking about gateway games. Like, I think that this could bring in a lot of people to the game world because she's created this game and people can play in a relatively short time, but it has some of the most beautiful artwork you're ever going to see. And so we are pre-releasing that worldwide English language after that.
Romantasy seems to be coming into its season. There's like several TTRPGs that are getting ready to go into that romantasy type setting. So that sounds fantastic.
Who is the artist on it?
Yeah, the artist is Frostbite Studios is her Instagram handle.
I'm looking at the art right now. It's very pretty.
Oh, yeah. Those are some gorgeous cards.
Yeah, I mean, she's crushed it. We're extremely excited that to come out.
We'd like to say thank you to Secret Door Games over at 215 South Main Street in Elkhart, Indiana. Since opening their doors in 2015, they've been dedicated to creating a friendly and inviting space for board game enthusiasts in downtown Elkhart. Their knowledgeable staff is there to help you find new ways to have fun with an extensive selection of board games, card games, miniature games, role-playing games, and more. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or new to the hobby, you're invited to come in, explore, and share in the joy of gaming with them. Open 6 days a week starting at noon, closed only on Mondays, you can make sure that you have a great time supporting your FLGS and getting to find Board All the Time recommendations while you're at it. You can also find them on their website, www.secretdoorgames.org, which will be in the episode notes. Thanks again to Secret Door Games for supporting the podcast. Next up, we would like to say thank you to our longtime friends and new sponsors of the show, Meeple Source. They've been supporting us all the way back to 2019, and we love getting to support them back. Meeple Source is a one-stop shop for all of your board game upgrade needs, stocking realistic resources, custom pieces for specific games, game trays, metal coins, playmats, promos, and all sorts of other accessories. You'll be able to make your games look utterly glorious. They also stock bundles of everything you'll need to upgrade each piece of some of your favorite games like Wingspan, Agricola, or Brass, and frankly, more than I could possibly list here. They also stock Geek Up bits if you're looking for the bags and acrylic tiles for all those titles as well. So be sure to go to meeplesource.com/partner equals BATTG to let them know that we sent you their way and to make sure to support both Meeple Source and Board All the Time. The specific link for that is in the episode notes below, so go check it out and thank you once more to Meeple Source. Our final sponsor of the show are our friends from Victory Roll Cafe. A long time ago, a group of friends had a vision to create a space to combine all their passions into one singular dream. This is the culmination of those things. They brought together excellent food, specialty coffee, and hobby board gaming into one space that is entirely family friendly as well. With a dedicated kids zone stocked with games for them and a custom dungeon for those adults who wish to game in a more thematic setting, you can find a wonderful experience every time you visit. You can find their current menu and the listing of their over 800 board games available to play on their website, victoryrollcafe.com, and you can visit them Thursday through Monday, opening at noon at 711 West McKinley Highway in Mishawaka, Indiana. Thanks again to Victory Roll for sponsoring us.
Look, at this point, we know you've been listening to a lot of ad reels, so we appreciate you sticking around. If you'd like to get a hold of Mark, Scott, Jason, or any of the theater geeks in relation to Board All the Time, you can do so by emailing us at boardallthetimegaming@gmail.com. If you just want to talk about an episode, or you want to give us a topic of the week, or you just want to say, hey, you guys are idiots, what is with your opinion? Reach out to us. Let us know. We're in the process of relaunching our Discord server, so keep an eye out for that. But you can find all of our episodes, as well as some of our bonus video content that we're starting to upload on youtube.com. We are at Board All the Time. You can also visit us at boardallthetime.com. And while we're still figuring out our social media presence, we are still available to be found on Blue Sky and Facebook. Finally, we would like to remind you that you can catch Scott, Jason, and the rest of the regular cast of Theater Geeks every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, playing tabletop RPGs, board games, and all other kinds of nonsense. So make sure to check them out at twitch.tv/theatergeeks. And now, get out of my ad spots. With that, AJ, again, thank you so very much for coming on. We really appreciate getting to talk to you. Also, I just love the tidbit about Voodoo Nights, because now I'm assuming it was a knock on Boogie Nights, but now that's all I'm thinking of Winter Mullins in that scenario, and I am just laughing way too much inside about that.
Yeah, Evan might have more content. I don't know what he would say, but yeah, that was the working title. He can only talk to dead people. But
yeah. Just
Yeah.
dead surfers the whole time.
yeah,
That'd be amazing.
Well, yeah, this was a blast. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and talking to us and talking to the people that listen to us. And also, you talked about your local game store that's down in that area. I am known to, when I go on road trips, I find local game stores.
Same.
So I know we're already planning on making a trip up to Wisconsin to go see the gang up at Thunderworks. I guess we have to make a trip down to Tennessee to go down to see the gang down to Van Ryder. It'd be awesome.
Well, if we do it right, we can do Van Ryder and IV. They're down in Nashville.
That's right. They're down in Nashville. That
Yep.
would be a dream trip, in all honesty.
That'd be a fun weekend.
That'd be a great weekend.
Yeah, Austin, those guys are great people.
Austin has put up with a lot of text messages for me.
When they were starting, Austin reached out to me, and he actually came out to our office and was your brain, start this board game thing. And so I met him then, and that was really cool. We're good friends and we support each other. And yeah, if you guys come down, double duty and hit up both places. We're right in half an hour.
That's
So
not
yeah,
bad.
let me know if you are. We'll make sure and host you well.
Oh no. It sounds like we have to do a road trip. Oh man, twist my arm. I don't know how I'm going to come up with the time.
That'd be awesome.
Buckle my time. Like I told you when we were, I don't know if you remember this, but it's what I basically telling everybody at Gen Con was, we just want to be friends to everybody in the industry, because we've gotten that vibe off of everybody we've talked to. Is board gaming as a whole is a very small, tight-knit group of people that you say, oh, I know this person at one company, and inevitably you are less than 3 steps away, and you're like, oh yeah, I know this person too. Yeah, so
sure.
hopefully, if and when you want to return, we would love to have you back on. Hopefully we can get our stuff ironed out, that there won't be a storm and interference for some weird reason.
Well, like you said, it's thematic to the spooky season, and hopefully you guys have enough.
I do. Yeah.
I had some issues on my side too. So, well, thanks again, guys.
Oh, thank
I'm gonna
you.
Get back home, and we'll talk soon, and I'll be listening when the episode comes out.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
So, everybody, let's take a deep, cleansing breath.